So this is the story of how Harley and Cally built HillCrest at Rose Isle.
So what had happened was in 1988, I was trying to get you out of the community, and I thought that if we had a home we could have together, it would be very nice rather than living in the community all the time. So I'd been passing this little bungalow, which is virtually derelict, for about a year before I finally plucked up courage and suggested that it was ours.
Yes, we originally thought we'd rent it, just see if we could rent it from Dennis McClay, the farmer, and so
he lived next door, didn't he?
He lived next. Well, it was on his farm.
Yes, these were his cows, and it was a very small site, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, and so we approached Dennis McClay, and he said actually that he wouldn't rent it to us with what we'd originally thought, but he would sell it to us. And so we asked him how much, and he said his solicitor would get in touch with us.
He said, I don't know, I'd have to think about that.
Yes.
And so we were expecting the worst. And about 2 weeks later we heard from the solicitor, who said, well, if you want to offer between £5,000 and £7,000, we can talk.
So we offered him 5,000, of course.
And he agreed.
But then we needed to raise the money.
So, I mean, £5,000 for that site with a house on. I mean, we could have done that house up. It did actually have water on it from Dennis's farm, and also electricity. But we decided that we wanted to actually get some money and really make it good, or build something. So we went to see the bank. First of all, we didn't have any money, did we?
No.
So we had to raise we raised £7,000 to buy the site, didn't we?
Yes, through the bank.
Through the bank.
Yes.
And the bank manager came out. He said, I have to have a look at this. And so out he came, and we walked around the site, and he said, how much did you say this was? I said, £5,000. And he said, you want £7,000? And I said, oh God, here we go. He said, now I'll tell you what, I'll offer you £14,000 because I'd like a site like this. You take the option on it, and I'll buy it from you for £14,000. How's that? And I said, no way.
No. And so we really decided that we were going to go for it. And this was in 1988. And we decided that before we left the community, we would actually start to use the money that we got, the allowances we got, to start paying.
£17.50 a week.
Yes, and the bank accepted that as starting to pay off.
Just mine actually, wasn't it?
Yes.
They agreed
and so we realised that actually we were going to need an income, and so we set up. Harley began to do his line drawings, and we set up a business. Yeah,
HillCrest Enterprises, we called it.
Yes, making prints and things.
But
by the time we moved onto there, we had got a small print business going.
Yeah.
But when we decided to move out to the site, we needed to buy a caravan, and
we already had Marge.
Yes, our holiday one, and very fortunately, a friend of ours, John Sire, very kindly donated quite a large sum of money to us, and we were able to go down to Aberdeen and look for a second-hand caravan, which we called Angus, which was quite a classic caravan actually, although she was quite old. She was lovely.
Lovely. They brought it up on a trailer, and the front boundary fence is there. Above the road's quite a height above the house, and we had to sort of cut it through the fence, track down, and let her in, and then tow her around the house.
And so this is
that's her sitting there.
Sitting there, yes. And that
was in June '89.
June '89. So that was when we actually moved into the caravan and began to think about how we were actually going to advance from there. Dennis, although he had temporarily allowed us to take water from his site, didn't want it to continue.
He was on a meter, wasn't he?
He was on a meter. So we we hired a man and a digger, and he dug a big trench for us. We bought piping.
That's about half a mile down there.
Yes, and so right
to that corner there.
Yes.
The road comes up there.
So this was quite a bit later than June. It must have been about September when we finally managed to get this done.
We bought all these pipes and laid them all down. Then we got down the trench and connected them all up, and then started to backfill. But in the meantime, Dennis wasn't very happy to start with, because all his sheep were lambing.
Yes.
And then the digger went through the pipe.
That's right.
The
So
digger.
this must have been spring '89. It
Yeah.
must have been the year late after we bought
Afterwards,
it.
yeah.
Yes, because it was a very wet, nasty day when it came. And one of the things Dennis had warned us about was to be very careful at this corner where his junction came up to the farm.
Came right way over there.
And so unfortunately the digger went through it.
And what's his name? The farmer who lived over at Hopeman had this field as one of his, and he had manured it. So there was a big excavation trench. He went through the pipe. It filled up with water, and all the sewage, all the effluent, cow barn stuff went down there. Went straight up Dennis's pipe into his farm.
Anyway, so we managed to get a very old man, an old plumber. The old man came out. He must have been nearly 80, I should think, and Harley holding a torch. We managed to get the whole thing reconnected that evening because it was quite critical because of Dennis's cows.
Yeah, but he took 3 or 4, long time anyway, to get out, to get the stuff through the pipe.
Yes.
Days and days and days.
Yes. Anyway.
And then Melinda came up, didn't she?
Yes, she came to
She was visiting for a week or 2, 3.
Yes.
And it was really nice to have her on site. It gave us a sort of lift. You could almost like see the future. And then, the business started to get a bit more strong, the HillCrest. So we had a shed put on there, and also a little lean-to, which became the garden shed. And so I was painting away in there. And the paintings were going quite well, weren't they?
Yes, yes.
I started images of enterprise in there, actually.
Yes, yes.
So then we had to start thinking about how the hell are we going to renovate this cottage or pull it down? And we decided to pull it down.
Pull it down. And so, but in the meantime, we had been applying for planning permission and all that kind of thing. And they were very, very slow getting through that. Although we got.
Well, we had to. We had a bit of groundwork to do beforehand. I was into the psychic surveying, and all the site had to be properly surveyed before we started, and so we had to have that before we even started drawing plans, because we had to know what we were existing on. First, the great thing that helped us was taking the cottage away, wasn't it? Pulling it down.
Yes. And this is me doing the ceiling height, doing all the bits, getting it stripped out. And this is when we really got going on it. This is a friend of ours called Guy Thorvaldson who came, and he was a roofer, and he knew how to take the roof down for us, and he did that.
Can I stop you there?
Mm-hmm.